MovieWeb.com.
I want to know, when a vampire is dating a werewolf, what sort of arguments arise from that kind of relationship?
There's no arguments. It's all love.
So they're like horoscopes, their astral signs kind of converge and work out like a really good partnership.
We don't have any behind-the-scenes moments between Lucian and Sonia, where she's getting up in the morning with colors in her hair and a cigarette hanging out her mouth, wondering why he hasn't taken the trash out. So, you know, they're pretty fiery people, so I'm sure that they definitely go at it. But for the most part, these two characters don't get to see each other very often, which is probably the key to a great relationship, I would imagine. The fact they don't have to, you know, she doesn't have to shave her legs in front of him, if you like. And he doesn't have to worry about leaving his clothes lying around the place for her to nag at him. So whenever they get together, it's just, you know, bliss.
Now, I want to know what it's like working with Bill Nye, because he gets so into these characters that he plays, like the vampire and the zombies. Does that sort of bring it to like more accessible level when you're playing such a hyper-real character?
When you have somebody who's so dedicated and
standing beside you.
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt. I mean, it was probably the main reason that I was so compelled to get involved, because of Bill's work and because of Michael. Michael Sheen is the most amazing shapeshifter and morpher of his generation, I think. The fact that he's played Frost Nixon, and now he, you know, has gone from, I think he must have shed about 30 pounds and trained every day to become this half-breed. And then Bill just seems to love and live and breathe the character of Victor. Through his own words, he's expressed that. So it's wonderful. You go to work with people every day who are so excited about what they do and so ensconced in what they do. It makes everybody, whether it's even the boom operator or whoever, it makes everybody very happy to be there and work hard.
Now, there's a scene where it's sword fighting in the rain and you're on a wire. I'm wondering, how complicated is that to get all three of those things working all together in a cohesive manner?
It's an orchestration. It really is an orchestration. There are so many different things going on when you have the combination of a pretty intense outfit, I have to say, is the only word I can use to describe it. You know, there's a lot of leather and corsetry and chainmail, and that involves so many restrictions with the eye contact lenses and the fangs, and this pelting rain, which really is as hard as it looks on screen. They didn't temper it at all. So, you know, all of these different elements, when they're thrown into the equation, then you have to look. This is the thing: is you can't look like a human. You can't look like a human who can throw a sword around and be kind of like hunched and a little bit more real about you. You have this composure and this elegance about you. So all those things just meant there was a deep amount of concentration in those days, and you know, by the end of it, you know, quite exhausted and looking forward to bed. I
was looking forward to bed. Did you get the rain welts on you from the rain? I mean,
you know what I got is that what you may notice is in the beautiful costume that was made, there's very fine chainmail, the finest of chainmail for the top half of the costume. And I think with a lot of the sword work, my elbows would rub up against that. And with a combination of that with the rain, I had this wonderful stunt double, and she was clever and wore this protective clothing underneath it. But it didn't look so good for me. It sort of ends up bulking you up, so I had to have the metal against my skin. So I got a little bit grazed and a little bit, you know, a little bit chafed, I suppose.
Well, now, Patrick Tatopoulos has been on the first two films as a special effects advisor and supervisor.
Designer.
Yes.
Production designer.
Production designer.
Yeah.
How was that working with him as a director? Because he must know everything about the mythology of these characters for you to work off of him while you're acting in a scene.
Well, Patrick is responsible with Len Wiseman, who directed the first two, for the look of the films, which I think has become the iconic part of the franchise. I think people are very aware of the hue of the film and the color of that. And so working with him and knowing how specific he and his attention to detail was, feeling that they weren't bringing in some new guy who had nothing to do with it. And you felt safe that that part of the underworld world was being taken care of. So he was, I suppose, the best kind of wet nurse possible.
Now, is there any word that you guys are going to go ahead with a fourth film?
I believe that there's talk of that, but I'm not one of the producers, so.
No, but do you know where your character might be headed in a fourth film? Or can you not talk about that?
No, you have to go and see it and make up your own mind.
Oh, really? So I got to watch the end of the movie and then just decide where your character goes.
Afraid so. I'm afraid so. Yeah, you might actually have to take a couple of hours out of your day if you want to find out what happens.
And then write some fan fiction, put it on the net.
What's that?
I said write some fan fiction, put it on the net.
If you like.
Okay, well, thank you so much.
Thank you. It was lovely talking to you.
That's it.